Gary Lambing, just very much around the corner. There's two basic areas.
Yeah, that's right. There's two systems really. You've got the extensive farming, which is more your high country farming, and you've got more intensive farming systems, the more lower land, higher stocking rates and all that sort of thing.
A lot of sheep are going to the high country or into the rolling country, so that's a different sort of management scheme.
Yes, that's right, because the main thing with the sheep in the high country is they're not used to human contact all that often, so they're used to being left alone and things like that. And I think when it comes to lambing and those sorts of things, I think farmers, obviously they've just picked paddocks that are well sheltered, got access to good food, good water, those sorts of things, and basically just leave them to it and let them lamb by themselves and let them develop that way.
Because otherwise you're going to go in there with the ute and mismother a whole lot.
That's going to be the biggest issue, and you're likely to have higher lamb deaths that way than what you. I mean, there's always going to be a natural attrition rate as far as any sort of lambing or calving or anything like that goes. So the best bet is just to leave them to do their own thing, and generally that's the better way to go. Yeah.
It means basically stock selection, though, doesn't it? You've got to pick the right type.
The right breeds, yeah, that's critical. I think is the type of breeds that you use. Obviously, in the high country, your Merino, your Perindale, and your Kiwi Cross are probably the main breeds that you like to use. So, you know, animals that are easy breeders, you know, and they're used to that sort of country as well.
Coming down onto the flat, where you've got extensive, I mean, that's a different ball game. What's it altogether?
That's right. The more intensive one, again, you're dealing with your Romney type sheep and things like that are used to higher stocking numbers per paddock and things like that. Obviously, it's a different ball game. You know, farmers want to closely monitor sheep in this regard. The you know, regular checks and things like that for breech births and things like that, where the stock are used to being handled by shepherds and things like that, and so that if there's any issues, they can move in quite quickly and deal with them.
And that's where pre-lamb shearing comes in rather than the high country?
Yeah, I think pre-lamb shearing is relatively important, particularly these days. It's a difficult call for the sheep industry. Obviously, you know, with low wool prices and things like that, it's
with the dollars coming right down at the moment, Gary.
So it's a big call for those guys when, if not to do it. I think, you know, with pre-lamb shearing, you want to look at you know, the higher combs, you know, the winter combs. That's right, and so that you're not taking too much wool off the sheep, and but you don't want to be leaving them at the other end of the scale. You don't want to be leaving them with heavy fleeces and so that they become cast while they're lambing as well, because that's going to be a bigger problem.
Once again, shelter, because the sheep farmers are very good with shelter.
That's right, and I think those are the three key things. Is from the animal welfare perspective, is that, you know, good shelter, good access to food, and good access to water, and also that they can be monitored as well.
And we come back to scanning, because nutrition is vital.
Yeah, I think that's the driver, I think, as to how farmers are going to go through the winter is with scanning, which you know, obviously that would have been taken well care of by now, but, you know, with multiple births and single births, that's going to dictate how you feed you ewes. Obviously, with multiple with twin lambing ewes, they're obviously going to get a priority feeding type system, whereas the single lambing ewes, you know, don't quite need as much feed to maintain their condition and things like that.
And I guess the same sort of rules go as far as calving is concerned, because you do a lot of high country stuff for that, isn't there? Yeah,
I think cattle are slightly different. I mean, in a way they're similar, but in a way they're different, because cattle on low country, you know, you do have the ability to especially with calving, to get in and assist them. The advice that I would certainly be giving is don't try and assist a cow if you're not experienced. Make sure you've got experienced people that know what they're doing, and certainly you don't want to be using a vehicle or that moves, a moving vehicle to extract a calf from a cow. That's a no-no.
And that's because it's brute force and ignorance.
That's right. I mean, you know, it's a natural thing for the cow to calve. If you force it, you're going to cause all sorts of problems. You're going to cause damage to the calf, and you're also going to cause damage to the cow with paralysis and things like that. So it's going to add a lot of unnecessary distress to the animals.
Because I was thinking beef, whereas you're probably talking dairying as much as well.
That's right, yeah.
So because beef, it's almost a case of you hit the hills and the
Yeah,
fit survive.
Well, and you're quite right with that. Again, you know, with high cattle that are used to being in the high country, you're exactly right. They're used to being up there. They're not used to being handled. They'll look for sheltered areas naturally and things like that.
And they're fit.
And that's right. And again, it just the key to it is just selecting those breeds and try not to overfeed them in the autumn, so that when they calve, they're not calving large calves and things like that. That you know, it's just the natural progression. Yeah.
There's a lot to it, isn't there? I mean, as you said, there's two extremes. There's the intensive, where you're moving amongst them 3 or 4 times a day, and then there's the well, we'll just shut the gate behind them.
Yeah, I think it's important to recognise that as well, because you don't, you know, as I say, you can cause more if you don't, if you're not used to the different systems, or then you can certainly cause yourself a lot more problems. You know.
Coming to animal welfare, tailing time, is there anything that we should be aware of?
Oh, not really. I mean, it's all pretty common sense stuff with that. I mean, there's a push away from detailing animals, you know, and things like that. So, but again, you know, it's farmer's choice as far as I'm concerned with that. There are rules and regulations around it, and I suggest that, you know, just read the codes of welfare if you're in any doubt.
Excellent. And there are where do we get a code of welfare?
Okay, well, the codes of welfare you can through the website. Go look online in the MPI website, and they'll point you in the right direction as to how to obtain a code. Also through Dairy NZ. Dairy NZ supply the codes, so yeah, they're fairly easily obtainable these days. Most people can get them.
I just want to suggest that you guys aren't policemen. You're actually there to help and you're there to advise.
I think, yeah, that's the thing for us is that sometimes there's a bit of a misconception out there that we're there to you know, wield the heavy stick. In the first instance, no. If there's a problem on a farm, you know, we're there to assist in the first instance. You know, and primarily, we want to see guys, you know, if they've got issues, we'd rather mitigate them and see them do well, put them on the right track further down the line. But obviously, having said that, there are going to be guys at the other extreme that are just out and out abusing animals, and of course they need to be dealt with from the compliance side of it.
But it's a very small percentage.
Very small percentage, yeah. I think you'll find that probably, I would say, about 1% of our cases that will result in a
Good on you.
prosecution.
So you're the power in the corner, Gary. Thank you very much indeed.
You're welcome.